It's interesting to see what this channel has become. It's not what I intended initially. You know, as I started in January, I guess I thought it was just going to be that sort of avenue for me to keep filming and keep editing and just fulfilling that sort of creative side, which it is doing. But also it's become this sort of platform for me to display a sort of photographer's journal, which I don't really consider myself a photographer. It's just more of something I've always done and something I never fully fell in love with. It was always just filmmaking. But because of this challenge that I've set myself, this one photo a week, it has really pushed me to get out and get a shot. So because of that, it's sort of given me this drive to keep going and keep finding new ways of getting different photos and even better locations. So I thought this week it would be a good idea to kind of have a look at that journey from January to now. Look at those 24 weeks and just see where I've been going and why, and sort of the photos I'm taking, the edits that I'm doing on them. And kind of, if you're not following me on Instagram, you'll see that, or if you are following me on Instagram, you'll see that I'm sort of uploading them in these sort of bundles. Each time I go out, each week, I upload them as like 10 photos, and this sort of little, I don't know, collection of the journey that I've been on in that week of that different edit of photos. So I thought it'd be nice to sort of not show you my one photo a week, the one that I've chosen for each week, but just show you a bit of the collection that I've been doing, and yeah, just have a little talk about that. So let's take a little look. The very first week, and this was up Blaenavon, and if I remember rightly, this was with a friend of mine, Harry, who's been in a few of my videos and a few of my films. I don't know why we chose this location. This was a lot of the locations I go to, they're all close, and they're all, a lot of the time they're last minute, because of, you know, sometimes I'm ill, sometimes I'm hungover, sometimes I just do not have the energy to get out and get a photo, but because of the challenge I have. So it's good to set you these challenges, and as you can see, some of them are just, they're not good. Half the time, like, the photos I get are not good, and you can get like 100 photos, I'm not even joking, you can take like 100 photos and maybe only 5 of them are decent. And what I just tend to do is I kind of play around with the edit, just see what looks the best, and there's no really sort of right or wrong way to the way I edit. I just kind of go with what feels right, you know, play with all the settings, the, you know, the light and shadows, the contrast, you name it, and just put that sort of cinematic twist on it, and hopefully in some way each photo tells a story. And the one I ended up going with is I'm not going to tell you. You got to wait till the end of the year. So that's week 1. As you can see, I've got 24 weeks, 24 folders. I don't know why these weeks are jumbled up here. And I kind of guess what you'll start to notice is that what I've decided to do with this little challenge was sort of keep it landscape based. So it made me go out to sort of rural locations, in the sticks, in the countryside, up mountains, whatever. So that is, and I've taken photos of like a, I don't know, like a horse or a sheep, and I've gone, oh, that's a really, you know, it's a really nice photo, but I've kind of stuck with this sort of I don't know, landscape aspect to it. And again, what you'll start to notice is that the photos, they're not good, to be honest with you. And that's just me not being really a photographer. That one's blurred. That's down to me not really being a photographer, and I'm really not. In fact, I'm not. Every time I used to make the films, that was always down to my good friends who knew more, and they were more technical with the camera. I just knew where I wanted it and how I wanted it to look, and then I was like, all right, you do it now. So again, not only is this getting me out, but it's making me better. I hope, I guess, as the weeks go by, hopefully they're getting better. But if they're getting worse, this is all for nothing. So This one again was the closest you can get is literally about half-hour walk from my house. I say half hour, it's about 2 hours to be honest, but really it is beyond the house. And that's another important thing about this, is that a lot of the weeks I'm not really going far. I can keep going up the mountain behind my house, but it's kind of keeping an eye on the weather as well. Sort of, are you going in the morning, afternoon, or in the middle of the day? Is it raining? Is it foggy? Kind of keeping an eye on that and going, right, I haven't done something like this. Is that going to show and tell something different? So even if I keep going up there, each week is going to be different anyway. And that's why I've tried to tell a lot of my friends. We kind of gone, and each week sort of goes with a sort of different sort of tone, sort of different colour, and they're all telling something different. Like this week was sort of, I went with a great, like I go through phases, and which is what I do like about this sort of this challenge that I got going on. I like that it's not consistent in any way. It's all over the shop. One week I'm into grain, one week I like really contrasty photos, then I like the exposure high. So this week was all about grain and sort of that film look with a bit of a bluey dusky sort of, I don't know. I guess one week I take a series of photos, I change the edit, and then I like it or not. And this was sort of what I came up with. Kinda, I don't know. What's good about it is though, and I've always felt the same about my films, you can film it and not really, I don't know if that's just about me being bad, but you don't really see what it's trying to say because maybe you were trying too hard to tell something else. I'm hoping that a lot of people see the series of images that I'm putting out on Instagram and kind of getting that feeling themselves. What do they feel when they see them? But who knows? Who knows? Like this week, what is this? Again, this was... So the first 4 weeks, I haven't driven very far at all. Again, it was like, I kind of went with that sort of grainy blue again. Not really, jumping out the minute. I guess I kind of was warming up to things. And let's have a little look. I'm pretty sure this week. So this was sort of the first week where I sort of ventured into sort of, I don't know, towns. Again, there's a bit of grain, quite a lot of grain actually. I've always loved architecture and old buildings and rundown buildings, so I kind of explored that a little bit. Again, not far at all. And as a collection of photos, I think they look pretty cool. This was, so this wasn't just one day. I went out with a good friend of mine, Harry, again, and went out on a different day with the parents. And then, is this edited? Week 6. Week 6 was out on my own again, just up the mountain. But you'll start to notice again, there's a different vibe straight away. I took some photos of this horse, again, which was, when looking at it now, at the time I was like, yeah, that's a nice photo, but it doesn't fit in with the landscape. Even though all the photos I'm taking a portrait, but I want it as of a landscape, so they didn't fit that sort of. At least I think they didn't. And the great thing about getting out is, I love getting out anyway. I love the outdoors anyway, as I've explained before. But you kind of, not only are you getting out and using that time to reflect on things, you're getting something done, and you're productive in a way. You're getting other things done, which you're killing two birds. Now, sometimes this is where, not that I didn't realise it before, but when I used to take photos, it was more of what looks cool, composition wise. Now, when I take photos, I look at light. I look where light is hitting and where the shadows are hitting, and combining them two to make an interesting photo. So, for example, like on this photo, where the light's hitting in one spot and there's shadows over here, and I think it's just more compelling to me because you're kind of combining those two things. I tried a bit of a long exposure with the water. I don't really do this often because I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest with you. Try different colours. There's a mixture of vibes going on. Oh, this is where I tried different greens. What you'll also start to note with my photos as well is that I've spent a lot of time mid-Wales. It's sort of my favourite place, probably in the world. Which I've never really said that to anyone. I just always find myself up there. I prefer it to like coastal places. A lot of people like the beaches. I just love mid-Wales country. I don't know what it is. Again, you can notice that grain. And a lot of the time I'm looking for interesting things. So, again, is the light hitting right? I'm always looking at the sky. I'm always trying to figure out when is the light going to come out. But also, what are you taking a photo of? So, I can go out. I've gone out to places and I haven't taken a single photo and I've gone out to beautiful places, but in some way nothing just seems right. And I haven't even pressed the shutter. Or I might have pressed the shutter and gone, yeah, it's definitely not working. So I think it's just having that sort of mindset to realise when something might look good, having that sort of or for example, right, let's say these trees, being out there, noticing that depth in the fog, also angles, composition, where is it going to look interesting or compelling or draw you in? Should I have gone closer or further back? There's just a mental range of how you can do things. And what I love about this is that the inconsistency of all the photos. I look at them back now and go, yeah, God, that's not good. And some of them I am happy with. And I do genuinely mean that. It's just that there is so much room to mess up and make mistakes and get better. And I don't 100% know what I'm doing with it. Just press the button and see if it's not blurry, and then happy days. Again, it's just that idea of what are you getting from an image. You can go out to these places and sort of see nothing, sort of go, there's nothing there to say or feel. Just take the photo anyway and come back and just edit it, and then you got something like this. Now, to me, there is nothing much going on there. But if you're someone else and you're looking at that, you go, there is something going on there. There is a vibe, there is a sort of gloomy energy that's, I don't know, mysterious, I guess, especially with this one. I'm hoping you're doing that anyway. But what I tend to do as well, I group them together with some music and just sort of give people this sort of, I don't know, energy. The Red Cow Inn. That isn't the Red Cow Inn, that's some sort of shed. But it's advertising the Red Cow Inn, which is 150 yards up the road on the right. And that's a big photo for me in a way, and it doesn't look like a big photo, but the colours in this one I do love. You've got the blue that's rising from the top, and then the red where it says hot, and the red on the garage, and it all worked, that photo, for me. And again, it's nothing, but it's interesting. The light hit fine. It's that sort of rugged, rundown architecture that I was talking about. But also, I have a lot of fond memories of going to the Red Cow Inn with my brothers, with my granddad. He used to take us up there, and it's at Ponstickle Reservoir, and we used to go in for a shandy and a cheese and onion packet of crisps. And this is one of the reasons why I sort of enjoy getting out to these places, because I sort of reminisce, and then you just capture it on a photo, and that's sort of, oh yeah, that's why I enjoy it. A lot of the time I'm going out, I'm driving aimlessly, and it's sort of frustrating me because it's the pressure of trying to find that photo and trying to find somewhere new, especially when you've sort of left it too late in the day. I drove around for about almost 2 hours the other day and couldn't find a single spot to take a photo because maybe lighting again, like I said, or just something interesting. I tend to drive, spot something out the window, and then go, "Oh, that looks good," and then that's where I'll take the photo. So this week I went down to Newport, again not far from where I live, and went with that grainy aspect again. But this one for me was more about using evening light again, getting that sort of gold and the dusky blues. You know, how do they hit the buildings? How does the light hit one side and then leave that shadow on the edge? Because what I find is that if you go in the middle of the day and everything's lit, it's not interesting at all. We do have that nice contrast between colours too. As you can see here, there's, you know, the light hitting the one side, and it's just nice. I think I wish I didn't go through this mad stage of grain though. Again, like I mentioned, getting into photography much more this year because of this challenge. I'm just getting into different trends all the time, instead of finding my own sort of style. Which again, like I said before, this is what it's all about, making those mistakes, making those errors and judging what you're meant to do. Like this isn't much at all. And you wouldn't think to take a photo of it when you're down there, or anywhere. But you'll find, again, if you follow me on Instagram or as you're watching this video, I've taken a lot of photos of signs because I like how the light is hitting it and the colours in the background. I loved how that evening light was hitting this sign, but it also looked gloomy in the background. There's this sort of goldy blue thing going on, which I didn't have to do too much to. I knew when I took it and then I looked into the viewfinder that was going to be one of my favourites. And also because it's interesting, you got that detail in the information about the different types of birds. I think it's could be one of my favourites. Again, that sort of transfers onto this next photo where you got the golden trees with the blue in the background. It's just nice contrast. Okay, so this was it's probably one of the most unique sets that I've done so far. And because I say unique, because I probably might not get another set like it, and I say that because it was snowing. And again, this was, it wasn't snowing where I was. You had to go up to the mountain, and you wouldn't believe the difference. You get up there and you're hitting a blizzard. In fact, I lost my bearings at one point when I was up there, and that sounds ridiculous to say, but you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. It was thick and it was hitting my face so hard that it hurt. And you wouldn't, I was doing videos up there thinking a madman wouldn't want to come out and do this and take photos in it, but I did, and I came back with this sort of, again, a sort of vibe that people sitting at home can take a look at and enjoy. Even that one, it's quite blurry, snowy, not much going on, but as a collection, I think it says a lot about a moment. Again, and they're just trees with snow on them. But if you hit that sort of right angle, you've got some leading lines with the tracks. Nothing special, it's just, I don't know, something your iPhone can't get, which is again why I love lenses. Wish I had more money to buy different lenses. I'm not really a fan of shooting towards the sun because of just silhouetting basically, and you lose a lot of detail. But some ways it does work. Now, again, it really does depend what you are shooting. So if you didn't want any detail, for example, I didn't really want too much detail in this photo. It's more about getting that shape and that vibe on the sunset and the sea. Letting that sun hit the sea, giving you that bit of glow. Again, I'm not with the editing process. I don't know what I'm doing with editing. I'm just going what I think instinctively looks good or helps tell that feeling. So there we are, last 10 weeks of photography. So thank you if you stuck around all the way to the end of the video. I do appreciate it. I know it's a long one, and hope next week you can join me again, where I continue for another 14 weeks discussing it, telling you where I've been going, what I've been doing. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.